Greetings and welcome to PinballHelp. Mike here. Today I have this Bally Paragon. This is one of my Grail games. I'm very excited to get this game. I got it from a friend. I probably paid fair market value for it, even though it is DOA. You know, you never really know when you buy a game from somebody and they say, "Oh, it was working 1 minute and then I turned it on, it's not working." You know, it's probably something minor. You can never assume that, but you know, I know who I got this from, so I have a reason to believe that it can't be that, you know, it can't be that bad, but you never really know. So I'm excited about getting this game, and I want to get this thing working. And this game is also one that I probably will be modifying with the BSauce system that I'll end up doing a lot more videos of in the future, where you can take an Arduino and you can augment or replace the rule set. But I'm not going to get into that right now. What I'm going to get into is how do we get this game working, because I am dying to play this. Obviously, Bally Paragon is one of the most respected games from this era of the early 80s solid state games. This is a real player's game. This one is used in a lot of competitions. It's a very challenging yet simple rule set. I'm dying to get this working so I can play on it, but it won't start. I did a video, I did an earlier video where I just talked about what happens when you get a game and you turn it on and it lights up but nothing else happens. So I covered the initial inspection of this machine, so I won't go into that, but you can catch that video and find that out. So I'm going to talk specifically about where I'm at, because again, what I do with these videos is I basically turn the camera on and I share with you what I'm discovering. There's not a lot of editing that I do. I'm just going to kind of try to make this thing work and make some mistakes along the way and share it with you guys. You know, it's an expensive, crazy hobby collecting pinball machines, so if I can share with you, maybe I save you some money and some trouble. You know what I'm talking about? That's my desperate rationalization, so just go with it, okay? So, we got this Paragon. Now, this is an interesting game. It looks like there's a, well, it's not look, there is a big, thick Playfield protector laid over it. You can actually move it with your hands. Look at that. It's pretty darn thick. This is not one of those fancy ones with artwork on it. It's a clear one with holes, and I guess you undo a certain percentage of the playfield and drop it down. The problem I have is that whoever did this, they probably should have waxed the playfield, because it's kind of dull underneath it. It doesn't necessarily look from the video, but the playfield is in really nice condition, but I think it could be a little bit better. I would have made the playfield a little bit nicer before I'd have dropped this thing down. But then again, maybe it was, and maybe dust gets underneath it, because it's not glued down. It's literally a plastic protector. So I'm curious how this changes the gameplay or whatever. But one thing is for sure, you're not going to wear the artwork down with this plastic protector. So that's kind of cool. And it's non-destructive. It's not glued down. So if you want to get rid of it, you can easily get rid of it. So all in all, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I hadn't seen one of these before. So that's the first thing that kind of you know, struck me is, oh, it's interesting. Okay. A couple of things I noticed with this game. First off, look at that. This is very loose. When you have big posts in the center, they often get hammered by the flippers, and you can see the holes that those posts are screwed into are starting to get stripped. I should probably do a video just about how to fix this situation with these wiggly holes, because that's a really important trick. So I'll do that, but you know, hint, drop some toothpicks and some Elmer's glue in there and then screw down in. That's it. But I'll probably do a whole video just on that, because it's a fun, neat little trick where you can rejuvenate those holes that have been banged around a little bit. So the problem with this game is it doesn't boot up. I flip it on and the lights come on, but the game doesn't boot. So let's take a look at where we're at and what my inclination is to do. So let's open the back box and see if I can keep the back box open with an extension cord just held in place. Okay. Alright, so I've already looked at the game, and my initial impression is somebody, you know, somebody removed the battery and put a remote battery pack, but the remote battery pack has got corrosion on it. So somebody didn't replace the batteries promptly, and that got corroded too. But the batteries are not even in there, and we still have a problem. So let's turn the game on, and I'll show you what's going on. So flip it on. 1, 2, 3 flashes. That's all we get. Now, on this particular architecture of Bally's, there's a diagnostic LED there. When you turn the game on, there's an immediate flash when you power it. And then there's X number of flashes. I'll do it again. 1 flash, 2 flash, 3 flash, and then nothing. And so the number of flashes, it should be 7 or 8 flashes, and then the game should boot up. So the game is not booting up. What is the problem? So, again, I can never remember all these details, so I have to go back. I think the 3rd flash is one of the PIA chips at U10. So that's somewhat elaborate. Let's poke our heads over here and let's figure out where that chip is. So it's probably one of these two guys right here. It could be, and I don't have enough light in here to look, but they're socketed, so it looks like there's, I don't know if they were originally all socketed, but my inclination is, since I was told the game was working and then it stopped working, one of the things that I like to do with these Bally's, and they use smaller .100 0.1 of an inch, 0.1 inch connectors instead of 0.156. They've got very small connectors. I'll undo all the connectors, and I will clean the contacts and sand all the pins. Check to make sure that there's no broken solder or cold solder joints. But I'm also going to probably reseat those PIA chips. So I'll find where U10 is on the MPU board. I'll take a small flathead screwdriver and I will just pry it out of the socket a little bit on each side, and then examine the pins to see if they're corroded, see if everything looks good, and then reseat it, and then look on the underside to see if there's any cracked solder joints, and just generally check that whole MPU board, because that seems to be the problem. Now this is after I go through all the fuses, and I have reason to believe that I think there's at least one fuse in there that is either blown or not properly, not the right rated fuse. So I'm going to be diving into this, and this is where I'm at right now, and I will stop this video and then do a bunch more boring diagnosis, and then report back in the next video as to what I found and what my next step is. Hopefully there will be a little bit more progress. So stay tuned for part 2 of can we get this Bally Paragon working again. Until next time, thanks for watching. Be sure to visit PinballHelp.com and subscribe at YouTube/PinballHelp.